How long gone? It's a humid Tuesday down here in St. Augustine, Florida. Them jeans, what's going on, bro?
A little humid for Glendale, overcast. I got back into town, had a great restorative Monday in Los Angeles. I was living very Lanzerhoffian, actually, having soup and salad for dinner.
I wish I had a salad, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
Oh, okay. Well, you had. I read in GQ you had a vegetable.
I did have a vegetable. I don't want to misrepresent what I was served, but it was at night. I guess dinner was never anything but soup, so that's why I'm sort of triggered.
Okay.
It's okay. Well, but now I'm back to eating and drinking as normal. But I am still chewing vigorously when I think about it.
All right. Okay. You're acting as if your eating schedule and practices are normal. When you say they're normal to you, just not normal to
normal to
the
me.
average person walking around. Yeah. I mean, I've been thinking about you when I eat because I'm a slow eater and I be chewing. And but sometimes, if I'm eating something that's a little less digestible, I'm working some short rib tendons or something that.
Of course. Yeah,
if I'm just having some miso soup, I don't need to chew it 40 times and give it a blessing for every mouthful. But yeah, something more challenging.
I would agree.
I'm reminding myself to get my chomp on.
Last night, I went to a curiously named place here called Tacos My Blessing.
See?
And I had some mahi tacos that were fucking banging, delicious.
Okay.
But I did think about, I was like really starting to get into scarf down mode.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what, Chris, slow it down. You're in St. Augustine, Florida. You got nowhere to be. You got nothing to do.
Yes.
Let's chew these tacos until they're within an inch of their life.
Okay, so you're eating like Matthew McConaughey, just like all green lights. We don't have. There's no yellows. There's never a need to run. And also living down there in Florida, you're on swamp time.
It's real swamp time hours. It really is. Luckily, I found there's a good health food store, Diane's, that's right across the street. They got the smoothies. They've got
Don't dox yourself.
Oh, I mean, it's not actually across
Fellas,
the street.
he's right across from Diane's.
But what I was going to tell you is, and this is something you and I can relate on. When I walked into Diane's after, flying, I flew from New York to Jacksonville, then drove from Jacksonville to St. Augustine. The smell of that health food store was the perfect, distinct health food store smell that I think both you and I strive for, that we're not going to get from a corporation like Whole Foods. You have to get it from your local sort of crunchy purveyor. And I went there again this morning and I was like, God damn it, why does this smell make me feel so good when it's not even necessarily a good smell?
It's comforting. It's because, Amazon
it's true.
Shipping facility. I mean, Whole Foods lost its corporate smell many moons ago, and now it just, now it smells like a butcher who doesn't care about his job anymore because he's working his 7th overtime shift.
That's true. Do you think
because he's the only person they can afford to keep on?
Do you think Whole Foods employees get free Amazon Prime, or do you think they have to pay for it?
Hell no.
Okay. I didn't think so either. I didn't think Jeff was giving any discounts, but I had to, except for obviously, Prime Day, but I didn't know exactly.
Just Prime Day. Yeah.
Just Prime Day.
That smell, I know you're there in St. Augustine, Florida for a writer's retreat, so likely the thesaurus is already left open on the coffee table. What are some words to describe the smell of that Whole Foods? Of that health food store. Yeah, of Diane's.
I would say that's really tough.
Walk me through the elements.
That's really tough.
I know it's tough, Chris. I give my toughest vocabulary challenges to my brightest young writers in their 40s.
There is an earthy and organic feeling to it, but it also still has to be cleaned. You know what I mean? So there's sort of an underpinning of some sort of solvent that is non-toxic. So it's a mix of fresh vegetables, tempeh, Mountain Valley, and then also some sort of like, you know how in the UK they clean with
Bottled water does not have a smell.
I disagree. I disagree with you. Actually, I'm going to develop a bottled water scent. I think that's a great idea.
Okay, is the smell coming from the bottle or the water inside the bottle?
Jason, these are questions I don't have the answer to just yet, but it's something that I'm going to work on.
The nose knows.
But I think like in the UK they often use vinegar to clean, which gives everything a disgusting smell. Like cutting vinegar with water to wipe off a table, just use Windex. Like, get a life. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, what about the smell of Fabuloso?
I love that.
You love that?
I do love that. Because it just, I don't love it. Like, I don't want to.
It takes you back to your days in the barrio.
I don't want my car to smell like it, or I don't want to bottle it into a candle. But I just mean that it's a smell that I equate with thorough cleaning. You know what I'm saying?
You don't want your home, you don't want your foyer to smell like Fabuloso, any of the colors or flavors, but you do want a recently cleaned out garbage area or maybe a dumpster zone to smell of Fabuloso.
When I'm looking for bread in the dumpster at Diane's later tonight, I want to have a whiff of Fabuloso hitting my nostrils. That's for fucking sure. That's for so. We talked to Flynn Monday. Congratulations, his restaurant opens today, I believe. We talked about the awful Taylor Swift album. The Chiefs lost their third game in a row last night.
Praise him.
T-Rav must not have been getting toppy like he thought during release week. And
but we did not. Wait, sorry. Go ahead. It seems like you're setting something up.
No.
Are you teeing something up? Okay.
No, I'm not.
I'm just going through what we already discussed. We did not discuss Lana Del Rey and Swamp Daddy upside down iridescent glasses on the top of the head at Valentino.
Well, due to my location right now, I'm seeing that exact headwear combination with the upside down glasses that look like they could be from a gas station. That's a classic Florida Southern man look. He did not invent that.
Of course
that
not.
is old school as they come. Every contractor south of the Mason-Dixon is rocking that look.
But he is the first person to sit front row at Valentino with that. Give him his credit, Chris.
Well, it's not Chanel, but sure. It was he sat front row. He sat front row Valentino. And I think that I believe that the pants were custom. I don't know this for a fact, but I think that they took an existing pair of pants and tailored them, took the flare out, added the pockets to give Swamp Thing the swag he was looking for. And I have to say, I think it felt awesome. Like, I think it was the perfect combination. I think it was the perfect combination of him being his Swamp Thing self with a little Valentino zhuzh.
Okay, so he took his Cabela's jeans into the atelier and had them sort of re-stitch it, in a Christian Soriano kind of way, make it your own?
No. I think they're made from high-end Valentino fabrics.
Okay.
I just think they were modeled after something that he owns so that he would feel comfortable, which is, I think, very respectful of the house to do that for Lana's man, because I think it's probably a funny exercise. Can you imagine some like gay 6-year-old man in the atelier being like, what is this? I just can't even imagine. But I think it was a sign of respect for Lana, and I thought they looked cool. I thought it was cool. Like, I think it's cool that they did that, he did that everybody was game. I think it's progress.
I agree. And I think it's good to push fashion forward, because there's probably a lot of people out there, given the opportunity, would like to try to do something like that, but are just never given the opportunity. And he's showing visibility that you can get it out the mud, you can get it out the swamp. He's saying,
that's right.
Look at your boy, I made it, I'm front row, and I'm doing it my way. You know what I mean?
Sinatra voice? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No, he
not
really is
compromising his Southern swag.
I like that.
It's beautiful.
I think it's smart for everyone involved to sort of collaborate on that effort and make it a success, versus one person holding their ground too much and it becoming bad, which is what would normally happen, I feel like, in these situations.
Yeah. Well, speaking of bad, known witch Bari Weiss now running CBS News. I guess I can't. I was trying to think of the last time I watched CBS News, and it must have been.
Well, I think that's why they're grasping for straws and again buying the free press and giving her $150 million cash and stock. But I read.
It's an important distinction.
I read her memo to the staff. I heard she had an invigorating first day phone call. You know, about it felt like it read like a cut scene from the newsroom. It was kind of the vibe.
Getting the team fired up.
Loving the news is a funny characteristic to have. Like, obviously it's her business, so loving it means financial stability, which I understand the correlation between those two things. But like, what a thing to love, because it's 99% bad. You know, I don't know if I could dedicate myself to something that is almost bad all the time, unless you're watching, you know, local news with feel-good stories about like a grandfather rescuing a cat, which is not what she is going to be tackling. It's just it's a funny wording, I would say. It feels like it's from a time of yore.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, everyone, you know, like Tim Dillon often references Rush Limbaugh as like his main inspiration, and it seems odd to idolize a conservative political commentator from the 80s and 90s.
It does and it doesn't, because Rush Limbaugh, whether you agree with him or not, is a savage broadcaster. You know what I mean? Like, he's very good at that job, even though everything he's saying is stupid. He got millions of people to tune in and listen to him basically rant while he was on oxys. So it's pretty powerful in the scheme of things. But I wouldn't want to exalt him the way Tim does. That's for sure.
Okay. Didn't they tell you that I was a savage? Says Rush Limbaugh.
Didn't they let you know?
Okay.
We do have a guest today. Penn Badgley is joining us. He's got a new book with his podcast co-host, Sophie and Nava. It's called Crushmore, Essays on Love, Loss, and Coming of Age. Obviously, you've seen him on stage and screen, Gossip Girl, You.
His band, she had a band as well.
Oh, yeah, John Tucker Must Die, which was a big deal because I think Cartel was on the soundtrack of that. That was a big thing for us.
Whole Brothers on that soundtrack.
Let's tap in with the GOAT, fellow podcaster, and see what he's up to.
Oh, and she's mic'd up. Okay. For listeners at home, Penn's going to be whispering this entire episode because he is with child strapped to his chesticles.
Well, actually, here's what I can do. I can stand up, and this isn't live, is it? This feels live. You guys are already going. What's happening here?
It's not live. We record the intro and that 15 minutes before the interview, so you know we're kind of primed up and ready to go.
You're ready to go. Okay, no, that's good.
I have to say, we've done 800 and whatever 40 episodes of the show. And this is How Long Gone first. I will say that you've broken a seal that I didn't think we would ever get to. If I'm being honest
we've had a lot of performative male behavior on the show, but never somebody bringing their baby on the pod. This is
never
very
this deep. Like if you pull
impressive work.
If you pull out a Dickens paperback and start reading, I'm gonna get worried. You can't do three things at once. Okay.
So this is the reality of twins. I think twins plus we have 4 kids. We have 4 boys.
Bro, you got hella kids, bro.
Dude, I know it's and you know what's wild? I know a fair number of people with twins, like, you know, like enough that I'm still thinking to myself every day for these 6 weeks. They're 6 weeks and like a day right now, and I'm just like, how did you never tell us? How did you never tell us? Like, you know, people talk about raising kids and babies and stuff, and it's like all the newborns. It's, you know, tough, whatever. I'm like, one seems like a walk in the park. You know, you get the one down. There's the other whole other one, and it's just
there's a whole
other one.
Unless you choose to neglect one, of course, but that is frowned upon in polite society.
Well, it's kind of like no matter what. Like, that's why he's on me right now.
I think we know which one's the rock star pretty early. You know what I mean? You want to coddle. Like, Jason is a twin. My sister has twins. It is something that at one point felt more rare, but now I do feel like I see and hear about it more.
Yeah. I can be your twin hero, baby. So if you have any cues, just let me know.
This is big. So you have 4 kids and you still work, which is, I want to pat you on the back for that.
Well, I mean, with 4 kids, you have to.
I know that's right.
Good point. Good point. I just mean it seems like you're doing a lot, on all fronts.
I mean, that's definitely the way it feels. Sometimes I wonder, am I doing, in fact, a lot? Why does it feel like it's so much? But yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about sleep score. Also, because you are with a child on there and you have a high quality mic, it's creating an AMSR sensation that I think our listeners are going to. If this podcast costs money, they would pay more.
Yeah. You should have subscribers.
Well, let's talk about your sleep. How many hours of sleep are we getting? What times of the day are we awoken, and what do we do in those times?
So in these last 6 weeks in particular, it has been all over the place. Like some nights it's 0, and then you're trying to make up during the day. And sometimes I got to say, the adrenaline you have from that makes the next day easier. It doesn't make life in general easier.
I get that sensation when I'm jet lagged sometimes, where there is something pumping that wasn't there before.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm going to try this as long as it goes, and then I will be able to hand the baby off. But I just figured I'd give my wife a break because, good Lord.
You're sweet for saying that. But I mean, it is, I know what you mean, that little boost that you get from being up all night. But as somebody who does things where your face is on display, not always best for the way you look in the face and eye region,
No. But thank God right now I'm promoting a book. So it's, there's a little bit of a break there.
Well, I mean,
a little leeway in the way that I present.
No, well, I should say we do half of the time have a night nurse, because what we have found with twins is like, you actually just can't power through. I mean, you need in some way a third adult. You just can't do it. I remember the first night I was with the twins, doing the whole this is the first time we've done bottles as well, like, because when you have one and mother is able, just breastfeeding the whole time, and that's its own thing.
She's already been through so much. Now we got 2 at a time.
Right. So I'm doing bottles all the time, which is like it's like a full-time job, just washing and sterilizing. But first night I was with them all night, I was just like, all right, just make it to 6, make it to 6, make it to 6. Of course, what I was somehow not realizing is that at 6, then I have to be with our 5-year-old, all day. This was just before school had started. So the first 3 days, I mean, I literally didn't sleep, and I was like, I'm going to die.
Did it get psychedelic at some point? Were you seeing?
Oh yeah. Well, one of the things that keeps me sane in those long night hours, I do love to meditate. I do pray, and so like I was just kind of in this really place. I felt
you were zen the F out. These kids were
God. I need you more than ever tonight.
Yes. Yeah. What is your meditation style, and how long have you been doing it?
That's an interesting question. It's definitely evolved. The way I meditate now is only ever with prayer, or it's more active. I don't just meditate to zone out and like try to get to this place of non-thought. I also don't know that that's possible, but so I'm a member of the Baha'i faith, and I became a Baha'i just about 10 years ago. So I really, what I'll do is I'll like read some of the Baha'i writings, originally written in Arabic and Persian by Baha'u'llah, but now translated into English. And I'll kind of like take a paragraph of that, and I will meditate on that.
When you say meditate on it, are you repeating it over and over, or are you just reading it and then digesting it, sort of?
What's amazing is that it's always a little bit different. I'm not really sure. Like sometimes I'll be able to break it down word by word and just kind of almost like half memorize it, close my eyes. Okay, here's an example. Here's just an example. Let's see if I can remember it right now on the spot.
Manifest for me, Daddy.
Yeah. So I think the first of this book, called The Hidden Words, it goes, O son of spirit, possess a pure, kindly, and radiant heart, that thine may be a sovereignty, ancient, imperishable, and everlasting. So like, that's just an example. So what I might, and I've been meditating on that particular word probably for, literally upwards of 10 years. Sometimes I'll just be like, oh, son of spirit. Like, what is that? What is that?
Okay, so
what is
seriously, you get 3 words in and you're like, shit, I got to think about this a little bit.
Oh, son of spirit. So, okay.
You're like, is that me or is that you?
Yeah, right. And then that's a pure, kindly, and radiant heart. So sometimes I'm like, okay, I focus on pure, kindly, and radiant. Sometimes I'm just at the word possess, and I'm like, possess? a heart? Does one? So wait a second. So of all the things that I'm meant to possess, this is like first and foremost. Oh yeah, because you know what? I forgot one. I forgot one of the. I forgot the first line. My first counsel is this. So it's, O Son of Spirit, my first counsel is this. Possess a pure, kindly, and radiant heart. So the fact that it's like my first counsel, possess. So you just get a little insight.
My first counsel was a court appointed lawyer to get out of a shoplifting charge. So I don't
Do
know.
I have a spirit? I thought, but do I possess it? Is that different than having?
And it, because you think about a pure heart, it's like, and what Baha'u'llah says about any word truly, but if it has this sort of sacred origin, any scriptures from any religion, like of course it's true, but it has sort of infinite meaning. And so I really do feel like you can just spend as much time as you want on these words.
Mm-hmm.
Penn, how long have you been this zenned out? Because I feel like you are, considering what you're telling us now and that you have 4 children, you seem very calm and centered, and I imagine maybe that wasn't the case at some point.
Yeah, when was your heart not pure? Because you feel like a pure, you're
Exactly.
a pure-hearted
Yeah,
motherfucker. If you ask
I know
me.
your ass wasn't born with a pure heart. I know.
You would have seen me at 4:27 this morning when my 5-year-old woke me up. That's
That was when the heart was really pure.
I was behaving impure, one could say.
yeah. No lie. Right now, the 6 weeks and 1 day that I have had 4 boys with the addition of these twins, because the oldest is 16, so he's kind of like on his, he's in a more, I mean, he needs us more than ever, of course, and we recognize that, but it's different, right? So the 5-year-old is dependent in a completely different way. I will tell you, every day with my 5-year-old right now requires me to grow, and if I don't, it is bad news.
This is the nicest.
Eaten alive
This
if
is
you do not.
yeah.
grow
This is
every
the
day.
nicest way any parent has ever put this. It forces me to grow, and I'm looking at that as a positive. I'm looking at it as a positive.
Your 16-year-old forces you to send him $100 every 6 hours on Apple Pay, and your 5-year-old you have to grow spiritually, mentally, from the inside and out.
Sounds like you might have a teenager.
No. We just still act like one.
I'm just shitty.
Yeah, exactly. He asked me for $100 every 6 hours. What a 16-year-old in your position, is this at a point where the 16-year-old thinks you're cool, or do they think you are not cool?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So he's not my biological son, and his dad is in the picture. I'm his stepdad.
You're the dad who stepped up.
Well, to be fair, to his dad's credit, his dad is in his life. I mean, certainly there was a period of difficulty.
That's
where,
cool though, because now he's got 2 motherfuckers he can hit up for the $100. So he's in a good spot.
He's got twins as well, and he's playing you guys.
He's also got a grandmother that.
Sure. Grandmother loves opening the wallet. That's it's a tale as old as time. So he's 16. You guys live in New York, so I can imagine he's pretty advanced.
Definitely, the way city kids grow up. Definitely, yeah. He's born and raised in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what is he into, and does he think you are cool, and has he discovered maybe some of your past, let's say, on the World Wide Web?
And how big are his pants?
So he definitely thinks that I'm not cool. Proper parent-child relationship.
That's how it should be. I think that's a traditional how it should be. I agree.
That's a sign that like I'm probably doing some kind of job right. you
Yeah,
know?
I would agree.
He has his own agency.
I'll say to myself, like, wait, do you actually think I'm really cool and look up to me? It's not clear right now, So, I mean, the fact that I have this crazy thing of fame and celebrity, and I know that adds. I can only imagine, when his friends learn about who I am. I'm sure that's such a weird. We've spoken about it a little bit, but not since he's been. I mean, we've spoken a lot about it, but not since he's really been such a conscious, person,
Yeah.
16. So actually, we're due for
We're due for a birds and the bees about fame.
Yeah, I really am curious. I really he's got it because his friends are all of the age where Gossip Girl and my show you are both. If they want to watch him, it's a big thing, and so I would imagine he's wrestling with something there.
He's gossip curious, is what you're saying. Like, I know that a lot of your friends are probably watching a show that I was on.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil it, but if you ever want to talk.
Well, does he have other, I imagine that he has some other friends from school whose parents are in a similar business, or at least like a musician or whatever. You know, that usually, I feel like Brooklyn private schools, there's a certain kind of parent, and it ain't an accountant.
No, it's true, and it's absolutely true. For that reason, we did move out of the city for a year because we wanted him to have a very different high school experience. But he kind of was like, "This,
the same
not
for me,
working."
bro.
I like my NPR friends, Dad.
Yeah.
He's like, "Fuck you, Dad," and you're like, "Did you just call me Dad?"
Yeah.
I wanted the Baha'i faith. That's Iranian in origin? Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, yes, it's Iranian in origin.
But of course, it's global and celestial and all otherworldly.
Totally global. That's a nice way to put it. Global and celestial. Yeah. Yeah. I would say that. It's yes.
Have you adopted any other Iranian cultural behaviors, cuisines, etc.?
The only thing I can claim to is just being more familiar with Iranian food than the typical white American.
You know things about yogurt that the average guy doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm a different kind of white boy. I like my rice burnt on the bottom. Y'all don't know.
Well, see, you even know that. I didn't, I somehow, of all cultures, like, yeah, I don't know what I knew about Iranian culture before this. And now I simply know a lot more Iranians. And therefore I'm just aware of the history and the culture. And
Okay.
Jason and I both have weird early ties to Iranian culture. So we both have an understanding of it as well. Not to the extent you do, probably, but
no, I mean, because here's the thing. Even though it's Iranian in origin, the Baha'i faith, I think it has become so diverse in the way that it's expressed and understood around the world, that like I really only know like these you know what I know? I know the way Iranians will kind of make fun of their own culture. So I know, like, all I really know is the stereotypes, just like anything else. So I really don't have this deep understanding of it.
You know about that, and you also know that you are not allowed to say it, but you're allowed to laugh to yourself when they do it.
Yeah.
Well, were you just in a place of like searching for something, or did this come to you sort of on a silver platter? Like, who put you on?
Maybe a co-host of a podcast?
Yeah. Well, my co-hosts are Baha'is, actually, but that's I met them long after I discovered the Baha'i thing.
Okay.
So let's see. I definitely was in a period of search. I was absolutely in a period of search. It really started when I was about 24, and I was in between seasons on Gossip Girl, and I was, I was having that pretty universal experience for anybody who does experience fame and wealth, and at the same time, they're not the same thing, but I was getting both, and
That's right.
I was having that universal discovery. This isn't doing a damn thing to make me satisfied or happy or content.
So you're saying I'm hot, I'm rich, I'm young, I'm famous, and I'm still empty on the inside.
Bottle service is free for me currently, and I'm still feeling a hole in my heart.
Yeah, yeah.
I walked into Avenue with 6 dudes, and it was fine, but I need more. I need more.
Yeah, yeah. No, it really was that. And initially, what I was seeking. Honestly, the closest, by the way, if anybody can hear these gurgles every now and then, it is my little infant on my chest. If it's confusing, it sounds like I don't know what it would sound like, but it's
I'll use AI to remove the gurgles. Don't worry.
Okay. Yeah. I was initially seeking out some way to, I wouldn't have said God. I wouldn't have said like, I want to, even pray, I don't think was a word I would have been comfortable with. But what I was seeking was like spiritual truth, which is to say, just what is the truth of what's going on here? What are we doing here? I mean, we of course all ask that question.
See, the thing is, Penn, I don't ask that question actually, and that might be that's part of my problem and maybe part of my gift.
Right. Also a gift. Yeah.
I was raised in the South, and we went to church Sunday. It was a very big part of my life. So when I rebelled, it was like, all this shit is stupid. I don't want any part of this.
Well, definitely. I was raised very much in a not anti-religious, but like a-religious. It was just, my parents had been burned. Well, my grandparents, I think, were burned by the Catholic Church in various ways. And so my parents were that first that first generation of like truly non-religious American, you know?
Yeah.
And I just inherited that completely, you know, and never questioned it. Never, in fact, the word God, I'm pretty sure made me, if anybody took it seriously, that made me uncomfortable. Religion seemed very much like I just sort of adopted the Marxist view, like it must be the opiate of the masses.
These damn sheeple. Follow the money, brother. Hashtag.
Yeah, right. I mean, I was thoughtful and sensitive, and like the first time that I was opened up to anything past, oh, well, you know what? It was art and music was like religion or spirituality for me, the closest thing to it. And I think for anybody who is anywhere from atheistic to agnostic, that's true. I think artistic expression is the space where you get that mysterious existential thing, right? Film can do that so beautifully, like so beautifully.
Okay.
So for me, it was that until I experienced, until I ate mushrooms when I was like 17 years old, and it really, you know,
Like,
I mean,
whoa, bro.
everybody can have fun, but I frankly was like, this is far too serious to be taken lightly. You know, that was the way I felt about it.
So it broke you wide open.
Yeah, and I would say it just began to crack me open.
Okay.
And then you know, music continued to be my lifeline to something spiritual. So the way that I thought about it somewhat rationally or logically was, okay, if there is a truth being revealed through the ingestion of, you know, naturally occurring elements, okay, so then I suppose what I'm seeking for must be this. Is it a deeper relationship with the earth? Is any kind of spirit or God or whatever? Is it the earth that I'm looking to get to here? Who has the most authentic and true relationship with the earth? And the answer there is generally indigenous cultures. So then I start to seek out indigenous, you know, cultures, peoples. That's an incredibly hard thing to do in an authentic way. You know, if it's not naturally happening for you.
Sure.
But I was trying nonetheless. And then in Colombia, when I was staying with this tribe there, and I'm not, you know, don't want to romanticize it. It was not like,
it wasn't the Four Seasons Bogota.
well, yeah, no, it was, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't extremely, wasn't a hardship rustic thing either. It was like, it was on an eco reserve. The most we had was like running water, no electricity. It was just enough of the rustic elemental experience that it gave everything more gravity. The Kogi that we were meeting didn't speak Spanish except for a few of them, so we had these Spanish liaisons, and Spanish speaking liaisons, and the sense I got was that the Kogi were just kind of like, who are these white people from America? What do we want? We want to have. You know, they consider themselves stewards of the earth and wanted to impart lessons. And I think they saw this ragtag of like, you know, kids. And they were just like, what are we doing? You know, they were, of course, immensely respectful and dignified and disciplined. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't want it to seem like I was befriending in an authentic way anyone who can claim indigenous identity. I didn't have access to that. But I understood, okay, this is not happening in an authentic way. It costs a lot of money to come here. I have to travel. Surely if there's something true, surely if there's something real, it has to be universally accessible to all. And it has to be free. It has to be truly like for everyone, no matter who you are. So something about the way that I was seeking it out just wasn't ringing true, but I was nonetheless starting to pray at this point. I'm probably 25, 26, 27. Interestingly enough, I had met a Baha'i down there in Colombia, this other young 24-year-old white dude from New York City who I, frankly, because of that, was like, not interested in you. You know, not interested in this friendship.
I got this at home. I don't need this.
Right, exactly. But lo and behold, it was exactly what I was looking for. You know, these teachings that he would share with me very indirectly and slowly and subtly over time, it really was just, you know, we'd be meeting up at different protests or we'd be meeting up for different, you know, organizing events, just something. And what he seemed to name better than anyone else I'd be speaking with was how I needed a framework to link my own spiritual transformation to that of the transformation of society, and how those two things are necessary for each other. And it was more coherent than anything else I was aware of. Wasn't aware that it was part of a religion. And if in fact I had been, I would have been like, all right, peace.
So you just thought this guy was like wise beyond his years, basically.
Exactly. And that's partly true, but it also was that he was becoming a Baha'i himself.
So he wasn't raised. He discovered it and then passed it on to you.
He was still pledging. You were older than him, and yet he was an elder to you in many
We were
ways.
the exact same age. Nonetheless.
A twin, something to think about, Penn.
Yeah. But nonetheless, it was a profound, and we're still good friends. We're still very good friends.
Okay.
This coinciding with like Gossip Girl being the biggest TV show in the world, for a pretty good chunk.
Yeah.
Seems like those two things might be at odds with each other. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, I think. Well, the truth is, I was never a crazy partier. I was not. I was always at most moderate. I think I would maybe spend, I might be able to spend a night or a weekend or a couple weeks like going hard alongside those who were going real hard. And I would like kind of have enough social fun that I'd be like, okay. But I think I would always bottom out pretty hard, the so-called come down, like not just from chemicals, but just from the experience. It always hit me real hard, and that's sort of the space I found myself in after just like a season and a half of Gossip Girl. And keep in mind, I started working professionally when I was 12 years old in television and film. So that's not even counting the years I spent doing just like community theater and other stuff in Seattle.
Yeah.
So I moved to LA and was working at 12 years old. I was working full time as number one on the call sheet of a show, and working 12-hour, 14-hour days at 15 for the first time. So by the time I'm 20 on Gossip Girl, I'd already been on like 3 failed series. I'd done countless guest stars. I'd done a bunch of independent films.
The bloom is off the rose. You're ready to hang your hat up.
Yeah, I mean, I'd done a decade of like I'm actually in a rare class of a working actor, and it's this incredibly frustrating hustle and racket. And I'm not at all creatively fulfilled. I've not really had a teenage period to just,
because it's some shit where like you and your mom live in the Oaks or the Oakwood or whatever, and like get it.
Oakwood, but we live very close to it. Yeah,
and you get it done, and then you look up and you're like, shit, I'm 20.
Yeah,
and I this is what I'm doing. I mean, there's no other. You're deep in,
right? And those alongside me, a lot of my friends by the end of this period, towards our 20s. We're really not doing well. Like some of them, in fact, those closest to me were really not doing well.
You mean mentally, physically, or you mean career-wise?
All. Yeah. And I just saw how this industry used up people real fast.
Yeah.
What do you think you had that these people didn't? Were you just a hard worker, or do you think it's sort of just God's plan?
Yeah. I mean, that's hard to name. Because I don't even think it's in God's plan to, dare I say, for anybody to, be miserable and fail. I think
he's got the sauce, bro. That's all it is.
Because sometimes that really is. It's that simple. It's like I know what I'm doing and I'm good at it, and the right things came my way, and I got it done.
I certainly was good enough at it, and I mean, the strange cruelty of like trying to become an actor is actually, here's my whole outlook on it, and it's not an encouraging one for anybody who wants to do this. Sorry, is that actually failure is the rule and success is the exception. It's an industry that attracts so many people, and it rewards the tiniest fraction of the few with success. And even within that success, like, look, I'm still grinding, trying to do the thing that I really want to do, like that's the way I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to check so many boxes that are so superficial in order to even succeed.
Well, you've had a lot of I mean, you have a great head of hair, and I think that has helped you.
Are you kidding? That is, yeah, without that.
Yeah.
I've seen you have, I was going to ask, because I've seen several haircuts throughout the years, and I think they all work, and I think
but even with all of these benefits and talent and everything, those who do end up succeeding, the 0.000% of it, oftentimes a fluke, luck, just a random instance of faith.
I've heard somebody say that luck is what happens when like opportunity meets preparation. I think that's,
It's very drill sergeant advice, but I agree with it.
yeah, right. And I think there's some truth to that, but it's only a fraction at best of the truth, because in any business, but in this business, I mean, your success is based on pure superficiality. Great actors are great actors, and I'm not putting myself in that class. Like, great actors do something that is incredible and powerful and undeniable. You have somebody like Philip Seymour Hoffman, who I actually think was very handsome and charismatic, but his talent, was clearly what caused him to succeed. And yet, you think about like, what do we really think that Philip Seymour Hoffman is like one of the very few who can produce that kind of gravitas? There's people all over the damn world who can do that. It's still, he still belongs to a certain look, a certain kind of gravitas that we like. It's very male. It's very like, so anyway, all I'm trying to say is this industry rewards an incredibly very few people. And, I watched it eat up the friends I grew up alongside. So by the time I get to Gossip Girl and I'm 20 years old, I already felt like an exhausted veteran of the game. Mm-hmm. And alongside me, everyone else felt pretty fresh-faced and like, wide-eyed. And I was like, I am done. I am so done.
But being on a proper show like that runs for a while, it's kind of the most normal job you can have as an actor. Because it's like obviously you get time off, but you kind of go clock in.
It's true.
You do your thing. You clock out. It's not summer camp. You don't have to go to New Zealand and put on prosthetics. It's like a pretty normal day to day.
It is a pretty normal day to day, and even though the hours can be quite long, and it kind of takes over your life, and then the fame part also definitely takes over your life. It is within its own strange world. It can be a very ordinary feeling job, especially because crews, being on a set with the crew, very working class, like a lot of construction workers. And so actually the irony of a set is that it can feel like a very grounded place to work.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes sense. You're seeing the same people every day. It's a pretty wide mix. I mean, there's 15 or 20 actors, but then there's 100 regular people.
Which is why I never leave the trailer, because then you have to look at all those people. Ugh.
Jason gets really upset when he has to leave the trailer. It's a whole thing. Got to knock hard to get him out of there. You got to knock hard to get him out of there. Yeah, I guess I've always heard that from actors and like read about it over the years, that like for a lot of people that's the goal, because it's the most normal way to do it for a living.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, yeah, I bet you nobody starts out thinking they want to be a series regular. They start out I think everybody starts out wanting to do film.
Oh, totally. I mean, maybe not less so now, just because TV is
TV
different. But yeah, I mean,
last few years it's different.
I know I think we're probably similar in age, so I can imagine that like that was the case for you. It's like, well, I want to be on the big screen.
Yeah. I think what I discovered over time is that I had actually really never had the opportunity to experiment creatively, because I started professionally so young.
And what did you were you on like soap operas and shit? Like, what were you doing?
I had done a soap opera when I was 14. I did just, kind of countless guest stars from like 12 to 14. Then you get more like recurring roles, and then by the time I was 15, I was series regular on a Warner Brothers show, and that continued. I mean, Gossip Girl was Warner Brothers. Actually, my show was still produced, even though it was Netflix. It was produced by Warner Brothers and some of the same people.
Warner Brothers said, "Come on in, it's warm in here."
You're a company man, Penn. I like that. It's admirable.
It's old school. I like.
No, it's true. I mean, I really, the conclusion of my show was the conclusion of almost a 25-year period of working for the same.
The frog was paying the bills. Yeah. The frog was keeping the lights on.
Yeah, it's true. And, and so in that sense, being on that kind of show, a big show, there is something that is extremely familiar about it to me and is like a normal job.
Yeah, totally. And, yeah. I mean, anything becomes normal if you do it enough. That's just what it is. But you was like what, like 5 seasons or something?
5, yeah.
And was it a situation where this was the plan, we're going to cut it off here? Or was it like, it feels like the right time to stop?
They'd always said something like three to five seasons. We knew more than most shows that it's like, if this thing jumps the shark, it's going to be real ugly.
That's Most people can't take the foot off the gas if the money's still coming in and the overlords are saying, the ratings are good. But I appreciate knowing when to say when.
Yeah, I mean, it's just when you've got a leading man like Joe Goldberg, I think you have to know you can't just keep this thing running forever. So it had this built-in kind of limitation, which I was thankful for. And I think, we all agreed it was definitely time to end it.
Yeah, I think that's power. I think it's powerful to know. I think most people have a hard time bowing out no matter what the industry is once they're, once it's sort of come to a natural end.
Yeah, it's very true.
Well, now that you have a podcast, you have the book.
Yeah, now that you're coming for our fucking money, we don't have any WB checks, so why don't you stay in your fucking lane, all right, big dog?
Is that making you a little more selective about future roles now that you have the stability of a podcaster's life and author's life?
Yes, the great income.
I think the low-paying stability is really doing a lot for me and my family.
Well, when you don't have to split it with a bunch of people, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, kind of like dovetailing nicely with what what got us on there, which was this sort of period of spiritual awakening that I had where I would eventually become a Baha'i. And, the truth is, you had asked me about, did I feel like, the spiritual path was diametrically opposed to the professional path I was on. And the truth is I did. And actually, I think if I had not become a Baha'i, the way I was viewing it all was becoming kind of dichotomous. So I was really seeing it like kind of more black and white, more binary, more competitive and oppositional. And I was really thinking, I can't continue doing this. So I did play music for a while, and I started to kind of experiment in a way that I felt like I never had been able to creatively.
When you talk to your agents and your team, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to make a record. Were they like, please don't do that, or were they like, yeah, bro, do your thing. We've made enough money.
Agents might be thinking to themselves, oh my God, this is the worst idea anyone's ever had. But the way they'll go is they'll go, okay.
Yeah, that sounds
okay. You playing bass? You playing keys? Or are we kind of the front man of this operation?
Right. Yeah. Look, they were supportive, and I think after a show like Gossip Girl, everyone expects somebody to step off the gas for a second and just sort of reorient. And so I did that. I ended up becoming a Baha'i. But the interesting thing about that is that I credit it and the framework that I would then adopt for being the thing that allowed me to see, oh no, I don't have to go to the mountaintop. I can, but I need to bring the mountaintop to my life. Every moment is the mountaintop. And frankly, when you're parenting, you're just like, that's its own mountaintop every moment. Like I said, when I say that I have to learn every day and grow right now with my 5-year-old, otherwise I lose it. I mean it. It's real.
So you have to bring the top to you. It's a top from home lifestyle now.
Yeah. Right. And so my show You was the beginning of a process that I'm now kind of entering another stage of, which is, it was enough in the milieu, in the wheelhouse that I was known for and what I was familiar with. Right. It was like, we all know the joke and the through line that Joe Goldberg is a little bit like Dan Humphrey if he just got his own show and picked up a knife.
This motherfucker's brooding as hell. He's hot. Let's get the shirt off every 4 episodes. We're good to go.
Yeah, exactly.
The knife is a big difference. I want to be clear.
Yeah,
I think
that's a huge
the knife is
it changes the vibe in the room.
No, it doesn't. He kills I don't forget how many. But like 15s.
No, you really be killing though. Yeah, you really be killing.
Yeah. And so that was kind for me creatively what it's been, and professionally I think it's like, all right, this shares enough cultural DNA, or some would say quite a lot, some would say less so, of a show like with a show like Gossip Girl. But then the show is completely oriented around my character and how he sees things and the voiceover. So it actually became a very engaging and very technical role where I'm really able to do something very different and have a very different experience and flex a bit and learn and grow and so but it was still very much like a TV show, and it's never been my goal to be to just be in TV. I think.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that they passed you up for the Naked Gun reboot, because I think Liam did a great job, but I think you could have stepped in if.
Yeah, well, talk to me in maybe 25 years.
They have the vision.
So now, look, I don't even have enough perspective because the show came out only 6 months ago or something like that. It's last season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a truly new stage. Oh, bless you. My little one is coughing and sneezing here. I'm really in a new stage. Part of that, the podcast kind of was happening almost like this sort of side quest for the last several years. That then, when we had the opportunity to write a book, I was even like, oh man, that's not gonna be easy, and that's gonna take a lot of time. And
you're like, how come Dax Shepard doesn't have to write a book? What the fuck is this?
And I really, but then in writing the book, I learned so much about what it is to craft a good story, and just about story structure. Even, I mean, it's all essays of my own coming of age, and then my co-host's coming of age. There's 3 of us. We each wrote something like 5 or 6 essays, and for something that I did not see coming, and something that I didn't even initially really want to do. But I'm also very much a team player, and we're democratic in the way we make our decisions. And, doing the book, it was like, okay, all right. And this will be a nice sort of crown to the podcast. Who knows how much longer we're going to do it? Like, all right, this is a nice, interesting project. We have this thing called Podcrushed. It turns into a book called Crushmore. And, that's cool. That's a cool little arc.
That's cool. We're cool.
Yeah.
We're good. We're fine.
More than most podcasters get.
Right. And I have to say, though, like, what I did in writing this was kind of dig into, the stuff you're asking me about coming of age, like growing up in Hollywood and particularly my teen years, which were frankly very, very dark. They were my darkest years by far and away. 12 to 20 was the hardest time of my life.
Yeah.
That's partly because I think that's characteristic of that time, and then partly because of where I was and the people I was surrounded with. Like, writing the book for me, I think, is probably a much deeper experience than it will be for anybody reading it, because there's so much that I left out in order to tell something of a coherent, somewhat brief, punchy story. But man, I had to more or less address and understand like things of my youth that led me to where I am now, in order to like tell a cohesive and relevant story. You know what I mean? To meet the reader who presumably would already know who I am and be somewhat interested in stories about, that. I have to understand the past, and same goes for my co-hosts. And so now I find myself in a place where the role that I might do next as an actor, very, very, very hard to say. Like, there's a few opportunities that have come along. In order for me to sign on to another show, I mean, I know what a commitment that could be.
Well, especially if it works, that's the problem.
I mean, that is. You're right.
But when you guys did the book, did you the 3 of you just kind of go into your corners and do your thing and then send it to the editor?
Yeah, we really didn't have anything to do with each other in the writing process. For the most part, I mean,
because you guys famously don't get along in real life at all, right?
Yeah, it's like I don't text them anyway, so it wasn't a big deal.
You all have your separate buses on tour and things like that.
Yeah, right. So we really were just kind of writing in our corners, and it's a surprisingly, for that, it's really cohesive. It really.
Despite everything, it flows.
Considering that, it still kind of worked. So
okay, well, you were mentioning the ages of 12 to 20-ish as your darkest years of teenhood, and I think many people can agree with that.
Yeah.
Ourselves included, probably. That time you had left New York, parents split up.
Left Washington State.
Oh, sorry. Left Washington State, moved to LA.
Yes.
So those darkest times were in LA. So when you go back to Los Angeles, is it comfortable now? Are there ghosts in them hills?
Yeah. No, but specifically because, like, sorry to keep referencing it, but it really is this. It has this fundamental effect on my life, so it's just relevant at all times. So, becoming a Baha'i has meant that now anywhere that I go, there may only be one or two Baha'is, or there might be 1 or 2,000, but it means that I truly have someone to connect with there. There is this framework for community building that is part of what is so incredible and unique.
It sounded like AA a little bit in some ways, where like you can go anywhere and there's going to be a meeting.
I would say in that respect, they're very similar. It's this, because fundamental to AA program is like, and all of the anonymous things.
Mm-hmm.
The anonymous family of brands. Yeah.
The 12 steps is this spiritual component. And I think even for an atheist who like chooses to substitute something else, it's still, I've heard somebody, I have a sort of like atheistic friend who's big into the steps, where she said drunks stands for, no, God is an acronym for group of drunks.
Damn, that's good. I've never heard that before.
Right, yeah. And I actually, I have profound faith and devotion to God. It didn't offend me in the least bit, because what I hear is like, you're talking about human relationships. You're talking about camaraderie. You're talking about friendship and support, the invisible stuff in life, no matter how you choose to view it and call it. It's the invisible stuff that makes up a life. So this framework for deepening those bonds in a person's life, building community, starting to be able to read that invisible part of your life better. Becoming a Baha'i for me has enabled me to go to places like LA, where, it would be, I think, full of ghosts for me. I mean, some of my friends literally have died, as a result of addiction. So it's quite literal, but it's not, because the LA Baha'i community is actually really rad and really vibrant.
But you're coming at it with different tools, basically. Like you're coming at it ready to rock with a support system, so you don't have to go to that place.
And I didn't necessarily expect that. I wasn't like, I am a Baha'i now, and now it will be different. I had to move out there for the second season of my show, and I discovered that I was actually having this really incredible time.
Okay, so when you get to a new city like that, and you're trying to find your network of people that you can connect with, do you just contact old friends? Is there a raya for is there a Baha'ia? Is there a seeking Baha'is?
I think there is technically still, like, leftover from the 80s. There is a number that people can call to just be like, hey, I'm looking for the Baha'i community.
Cool.
I forget that number. It's like 22. I don't know.
That's actually really funny, and I think
I love that.
More things should have that.
Yeah,
just call the number. We'll set you up with somebody. It's not sex stuff. It's just normal.
Yeah.
Or in a Hadi Fleiss kind of way. That's not bad either. Hey, I'm in town.
Yeah.
So
totally.
I think what tends to happen for me is that it's like, somebody will know somebody, and I'll just be able to be connected organically if it's a matter of connecting to a Baha'i community somewhere. In fact, the one time that it was totally inorganic, and I was like, I'm just going to go on the website for the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of this country and just literally email them. I was in the Philippines, in Manila, on a press tour.
You're like, what's up? It's Penn. I'm here in Manila for a couple days. You guys got anybody to send over?
The idea that I was emailing, because I also like the person I emailed, like, was not, I think, somebody who should just be fielding random emails.
Sure. They're like, nobody sent an email to this address. I'm the CEO down here. Like, what is this?
You're like, some famous guy's looking for an old lady to have him over for dinner. I don't know what's going on here.
Really, it's amazing, because I was in Manila and I was on a tour, and everybody from the network was saying, like, it's not safe enough for you to just go out. Like, you need a security guard at all times.
Are you popping there, or is it just dangerous?
Well, I suppose it's a mixture of both.
All things.
Sure.
But so I email the Baha'is there, and then, like, this group of Filipino people show up at my hotel. They're like, hey, let's go to a volcano. And we, like, just go. And we spent 2 days together. I didn't know these people at all, but we had this kind of this commonality. That was the first time in my life that I experienced what people can call, like, I don't know what to call it. I suppose it's community, but it's a different
Let's
because
call it true faith, not to
yes,
quote New
yeah.
Order.
Well, because it was like this is based on nothing tangible. This is based on nothing, but it was really, really lovely. It was really lovely.
Yeah, because if I did that, it'd be somebody from, that knows me from Instagram or whatever, and we have a similar interest in whatever it might be. You know what I mean? Or they listen to this show. But I feel like this brings you a real wide swath of folks
It can.
with a
Yeah,
similar
I
baseline.
bond with people. It begins and ends with cool restaurants you can visit in my city, and you're
Yeah.
so I know that mountains are the source of all human life and existence. Shall we visit a grand volcano and bask in its glory? Also,
Yeah,
if the Baha'i faith is mountain oriented, right? Mountain is that's like the heart of the world, kind of.
Oh, well, I mean, no, but I would say if anything, Baha'is, and I think many people of spiritual traditions have felt this and said this and see this too. If anything, I would just say like all of physical reality is just a metaphor for spiritual reality. Actually, not the other way around, which is to say that consciousness is first
Mm.
and matter is second. And the leading little book for you. It's pure science based by Donald Hoffman. It's called The Case Against Reality. Brilliant book about how the leading sort of frontiers of physics it's leading those who are on the absolute cutting edge to cast aside this assumption that consciousness comes from matter. That consciousness arises from matter, that it must be some sort of process of computation ultimately, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I was a bit
When you all right, hold on. When you met your wife, were you already into this shit and she had to get on board, or did you guys kind of get into it together?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both.
Okay, sure. She was curious, and you sort of led her to water.
We met at the same time that I was seeking, and
Okay, so she was like, "I like this guy. He's into this. All right, let's just ride the wave."
we would meditate together. We had both learned the same kind of like meditation practice. Earlier you asked me, I've tried a lot of different kinds of meditation, and we both happened to share that at that time. We both would eventually share our last drink together, even though I don't think either one of us knew it would be the last drink.
Yeah.
So we were both spiritually seeking. She was not and is not Baha'i, but she loves a lot of she loves everything about it, and she likes to surround herself with Baha'is.
She's like, it's better that you're into this than like UFC and stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess this is better than cocaine and football, so let's rock.
Yeah, right.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about you mentioned finding the spirituality, going into music at an early age, but were you listening to, quote unquote spiritual music, or were you finding the spirituality in the new Interpol EP?
Well, no. I mean, it wouldn't have been Interpol for me, but I totally respect anybody who is finding it in that. To me, music absolutely was and is spiritual. Like that's what it is. I mean, again, what is it? It's calling out of the invisible, something that can make a person cry. Like it's deeply spiritual.
Yeah.
And for me, I always did tend towards rap and jazz and R&B, like soul music. And not for nothing, that is probably of all the American music. I suppose there's country, but country never really did anything for me.
Speak for yourself, brother.
Sure, and that's fair. That's fine. But it's country and soul are the two genres that are the most overtly connected to spirituality. To even religion, I would say. They're both like country singers and a soul singer will both sing about God.
Yeah, that's true. No, you're right. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, country just really didn't do it for me. But soul did, and gospel even more so as I would get older. Even I would say saying the word God and taking it seriously would have made me uncomfortable. But listening to someone sing about it did not make me uncomfortable.
That's pretty fair, I think. But at 15, were you like listening to Third Eye Blind, or were you into some,
He was listening to his D'Angelo.
D'Angelo was always my number one from like.
Really?
What about Maxwell? The Unplugged album is a classic for me.
He is great. And listen, shout out to Maxwell. I actually, we were like hanging in the same circle for a bit. He was a friend of a friend, and like I do really love and respect him. D'Angelo just hits different for me.
Yeah, D'Angelo is a superstar, and he also had problems. You know what I mean? In a way that was like made it all seem heightened.
He also had cum gutters, so they kind of
he looked
each
amazing.
Other
Yeah,
out.
I mean, body wise, he's the goal as well as singing wise.
Well, he would even say in interviews before the period of downfall or a period of struggle that he had, he would say, like, I just want to get fat so people can listen to my music, because his music is great. And lo and behold, he did.
No, I mean, yeah, he did what he said. I mean, I'm reading the Evan Dando memoir right now, and he has a similar problem where it's like all they wanted me to do was be like a pinup, and it's felt like it was a trap, which is look. There's worse traps to be caught in for my money, but I understand everybody's struggle is different.
It is.
Yeah. Questlove is like, that sounds good to me. Can I try that for a minute?
Well, it's funny that you say Questlove, because Questlove was the co-pilot for D'Angelo in all of
Yeah.
I actually think, I don't know. I do know Amir Questlove a bit. He, I can consider him a friend. He also knows everybody, literally. Like, he's one of the most connected people and busy people. I would actually say
he'd be saying yes.
I would say he's the most connected and busy person I've ever met in my life.
Well, we just met, so it's
yeah.
Give it some time.
The little bit of my own experience with being known for the shape and condition of your body, which you're not responsible for. He's like,
hey, you're responsible for it a little bit. You could be eating Domino's 3 meals a day.
That part's true. You're right. But
I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean.
Something that you don't actually have anything to do with, and therefore I do think it can be an incredibly. I think it can develop this profound kind of secret insecurity. Personally, that's my experience with it.
Like, you're saying I take my shirt off and everybody loves it, but what about the inside?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's never been the shirt off. It's been more the face, but yeah.
You're like, bro, you're looking at it. Shirt off, it's fine.
Potato. Same feeling, same effect.
No one was paying me extra to take the shirt off. That's kind of part of the deal.
I've never been that guy.
That's actually, that's so funny. That's really, really
We're
funny.
more of a, not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, now I'm glad I know that what waters you're swimming in musically, so I can add a song at the end of the set. We do a different song for the outro of every episode, so I'll swim in those Erykah Badu kind of it'll be a Jay Dilla deep cut for you, Penn.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Nice.
Your little donuts ass. Thank you for joining us, Penn. The book is out now, or is it out soon?
Probably by the time this comes out.
Okay, this comes out tomorrow. We work fast.
Oh, all right. So it's out October 14th.
Okay, soon. October 14th.
Week from today.
And one thing I will say, just shameless shill. The audiobook. The audiobook is a special thing because it's all three of us doing our thing, and if you like this voice, you can get more of it.
Yeah, I was actually gonna, because I was listening to the most recent episode of your podcast, and at the very end, there's like a little 5-minute teaser where you're reading an excerpt.
Yeah, there's a little clip.
And having you read it as somebody who has decades of oration and
hits diff.
The character of you is a real thing, and the way that you narrate and read things, you could read me my fucking tax return and people are still gonna listen to that shit, you know what I mean?
That's a power.
And I like that you are also narrating your own inner thoughts as well, and commenting on yourself in a meta way.
Yeah, well, you know what I realized for a few of the essays, I felt like I was doing a one-man show. When I was doing the audiobook itself, I actually had to find myself. First of all, I was like, oh my God, the way that I write is ridiculous, because it's just sometimes so layered. And so, that's kind of what the game of a celebrity written book is. You have to play with it a bit. It's like this self-referential thing. So I'm playing with that and that humor. And that kind of chaotic irreverence.
We throw all the pen at it and then we'll cut back to where it's good, because there's such a thing as too many parentheses.
Yeah,
there's something that happens when I hang out with people that are, I guess, quote unquote famous, and the good ones are very aware of it and let you know that they know that you're aware of it. There's no pretense.
Yeah.
There's no like I'm not going to pretend like you don't know what happens to me because it's in the news. And I think that is that is the best quality that one can possess if they become successful in that way for me. Because it's like a level of respect you're giving your friend.
Totally. No, I agree with that. And so, me writing my own essays here in this book and then narrating them, it's like I really did find, I was like, okay, I've done something here where it requires almost a level of performance that is just a degree beyond an audiobook. And it felt good. It's like, oh, this is something that I can really put out into the world and feel good about.
No, it would have been funny if you got somebody else to do it, but probably not as good for sales. You know what I mean? Like Richard E. Grant was unavailable, but you had to step in.
I think a degree beyond audiobook is a perfect way to put it, because most people are like, I'm going to read an audiobook, into a microphone for probably the first time in my life. It's going to be a little bit of a struggle. It's not what I do.
Yeah.
And you're like, bro, I've been doing this since before I hit puberty. I'm not gonna like be a dick about it and like be a showboat about it, but I'm gonna let you know that this is
bring the noise.
What I do.
Yeah.
Oh, it's kind of what I do. This is kind of
what I do.
And that's the way it should be. Yeah. We all need to, in the podcast space, we all need to fight for our own unique attributes to keep us apart from one another.
You know what we don't need? It's another podcast.
Oh, wow. What a great note to end on.
We'll quit ours if you quit yours, Penn.
We made a blood pact.
You're like, actually.
Thanks, Penn. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Penn. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, guys.
Congrats on all the success with the book as well as your new twins. Good luck.
I appreciate it.
All right, peace.
Take care.